Hey guys, welcome back to this video. I'm just creating this video because of my subscriber request. If you have any request, then don't forget to put a comment on this video. I'm happy to create a video for you. And let's begin the journey of learning about Active Directory. In this video, I'm just going to teach you about the Active Directory, and I'm just using this TryHackMe lab for that. Let's dive into the video. So basically, Active Directory is the backbone of the corporate world. It simplifies the management of devices and users within a corporate environment. So yeah, in this room, we are going to learn about Active Directory, and let's continue. And let's move on to the important part of this. The first part seems to be the task 2 is the first part, and which is about Windows domains. And you have to picture yourself administrating a small business network with only 5 computers and 5 employees. In such a tiny network, you will probably be able to configure each computer separately without a problem. You will manually log into each computer, create users for whoever will use them, and make specific configurations for each employee's account. If a user's computer stops working, you'll probably go to their place and fix the computer on site. So if you are a business owner and you are having only 5 employees in your office, if their computer got any issues, then you will be able to solve that easily by going to their place, right? So if you are running a business which has more than hundreds of computers, then it is not possible to go everywhere, every single person, and solving their issues. In that case, we have the Active Directory. Okay, to overcome these limitations, we can use a Windows domain. Simply put, a Windows domain is a group of users and computers under the administration of a given business. The main ideas behind a domain is to centralize the administration of common components of a Windows computer network in a single repository called Active Directory, which you can call as AD in short. So the server that runs the Active Directory is known as the domain controller. So yeah, in the domain controller is in between, and we can see the domain in this case is tryhackme.com, and we have the file server, database server, desktop, workstations are all around, and in the center we have the domain controller. The main advantage of having a configured Windows domain are centralized identity management and managing security policies. And basically, the identity management is all users across the network can be configured from the Active Directory with minimum effort. And managing security policies, you can configure security policies directly from the Active Directory and apply them to users and computers across the network as needed. And you do have a real world example for that. If this is a bit confusing for you, you will be able to read this by yourself to get a well understanding of what it is. So in this case, we have to start this mission. I just started. If you don't start it, then you have to start that. You can connect it via RDP using these credentials. In this case, I started mission. I'm just using this inbuilt mission. If you face any issues in this inbuilt mission, then you can just connect it using the RDP, using the credentials given below, using tools like Ramina, which is great for you to connect to RDP. Okay, so in this case, I'm just using this. Okay, so in a Windows domain, credentials are stored in a centralized repository called. So we can see a lot more about it. So you can see to overcome these limitations, we can use the Windows domain. Simply put, a Windows domain is a group of users and computers under the administration of a given business. The main ideas behind the domain is to centralize administration in a single repository called Active Directory, right? The server in charge of running the Active Directory services is called, and which will be here. The Active Directory services, the server that runs the Active Directory services is known as the domain controller, which you can call it in short as DC. AD stands for the Active Directory and DC stands for the domain control. Okay, so we are moving to the task 3, which is about Active Directory. The core of any Windows domain is basically the Active Directory domain service, which you can call as a DDS. This service acts as a catalog that holds the information of all of the objects that exist on your network. Amongst the many objects supported by AD, which is Active Directory, we have users, groups, missions, printers, shares, and many others. let's look on it. You can just read those contents by yourself, but in short, we can just read some important concepts. So yeah, we have a note. Mission account passwords are automatically rotated out and are generally compromised of 120 random characters. So that's something I don't want to read right now. You can see identifying mission account is relatively easy. They follow a specific naming scheme. The mission account name is the computer's name followed by a dollar sign. For example, if you have a mission named DC01, your mission account name will be DC01 dollar. So there is a dollar at the end. That's the only thing you should keep in mind in terms of mission account naming. We have some security groups where you will be able to see some security groups and its descriptions. We have domain admins. It's basically users of this group have administrative privileges over the entire domain. By default, they can administer any computer on the domain, including the domain controllers. We have server operators. Users in this group can administer domain controllers. They cannot change any administrative group permissions. We have backup operators. Users in this group are allowed to access any file, ignoring their permissions. They are used to perform backups of data on computers. We have account operators. Users in this group can create or modify other accounts in the domain. We have domain users, include all existing user accounts in the domain, and domain computers includes all existing computers in the domain. We have domain controllers, which includes all existing DCs, which is the domain controllers on the domain. And we will be able to see about Active Directory users and computers, which you can just set up using the Active Directory users and computer. In here, you can just search for that. And here is our Active Directory users and computers. Once you open that, you will be able to see something like this. From there, you can see we have the THM ID. From that, you will be able to see a lot of informations. I'm just getting into it soon. Okay, in the meantime, let's read this. So there are some contents that you should definitely need, guys. So this will open up a Windows where you can see the hierarchy of users, computers, groups that exist in the domain. These objects are organized in organizational unit. We can just call it OU, organizational unit, which are container objects that allow you to classify users and mission. OU, which is the organizational units, are mainly used to define the sets of users with similar policing requirements. The people in the sales department of your organization are likely to have a different set of policies applied than the people in IT. For example, keep in mind that a user can only be part of single organizational unit at a time. You can just read the contents by yourself. It is highly recommended to read these by yourself. So we have some information on it. We have, yeah, these are something that I recommend you to read by yourself. If I read everything, then this video might be get boring for people. So yeah, that's why I will read some of these and you have to read the rest of these. Okay, which group normally administrates all computers and resources in a domain? So the group that administrates all computers and resources in a domain. And as you can see, we have domain admin security group is the users of this group have administrative privilege over the entire domain. So this is what they are asking for. And what would be the name of the mission account associated with the name Tom PC? So as you can see from here, we have a mission account named DC01, and the mission name DC01 will have the mission account name a dollar at the end, right? So like that, we have a name called Tom PC. So the mission name is called Tom PC. The mission account name will be dollar at the end, right? So yeah, you can just put the dollar at the end. Suppose our company creates a new department for quality assurance. What type of containers should we use to group all quality assurance users so that policies can be applied consistently to them? Yeah, you can just read the contents. You have to find that. It's basically your company creates a new department for quality assurance. So what type of containers should be used to group all quality assurance users so that policies can be applied consistently? So you can just search for quality, but nothing there. So yeah, this is something that you will be able to get by reading these contents. Let me check if mic is working. Okay, in this case, you can see it's talking about the OU, which is the organizational unit, and you will be able to get the description from here. Right? This will open up a window where you can just see the hierarchy of users, computers, and groups that exist in the domain. These objects are organized in the organizational unit, so which are containers. OUs are containers object that allows you to classify users and machines. Right? So yeah, the answer here is organizational units, the type of containers, right? So yeah, let me correct the spelling. Yeah, we are moving to the task 4 where we are going to manage the users in ID, which is Active Directory. So in this case, the first task as the new domain administrator is to check the existing AD or use like Active Directory, organization units and users. As some recent changes have happened to the business, you have been given the following organizational chart and are expected to make changes to the Active Directory to match it. We have a management called Daniel, General Manager, and we have some departments like marketing, sales, IT, where we have different peoples for different purpose. So deleting extra OUs and users, the first thing you should notice is that there is an additional department OU in your current AD configuration that doesn't appear in the chart. We have been told it was closed due to the budget cuts and should be removed from the domain. If you try to right click on to delete the OU, you will get the following error. So let's use this. And this is basically us, and we have some informations, right? So in the marketing we have mark only. Let's click marketing and we have mark only. And in the sales we have Sophie and Thomas. In the sales we have Sophie, Thomas, and also Robert Christine, which is not mentioned here. And this is something that you should try to delete, I think. So other than Sophie and Robert, we have some other users called Thomas. Let's try to delete that. Oops, I was able to delete Sophie and Robert is what we want, I think. Yeah, I just deleted. So, anyways, I'm just moving on. By default, OUs are protected against accidental deletion, but in this case, I don't find that. So, yeah, to delete the OU, we need to enable the advanced features in the menu. So, yeah, let's see the view advanced features, and inside that, we have to go to the object. So, view. This is advanced features. So, they are saying to go to advanced features, and this will show some additional containers that enable you to disable the accidental deletion protect. To do so, right click on the OU and go to properties. You will find a checkbox in the object tab to disable the protection. As you can see, this is what they asked before, like we don't have sufficient privilege to delete the THM, right? So this is protected for accidental delete protection, right? So yeah, this is something that you can just go to the object and to enable the protect object from accidental deletion, disable to delete the OU. Okay. We have delegation. One of the nice things that you can do in the Active Directory is to give specific users some controls over some OUs. This process is called delegation. Okay, so let's try to go here in the advanced features. Right click on the OU and go to properties. Yeah, this is our OU organizational unit. Go to properties. From there you will be able to see object. From there you will be able to select if you want, like protect object from accidental deletion was enabled, you can just disable and delete easily. So I'm just not going to disable that right now. Okay, we have delegate controls. Once you click somewhere in an OU, we can just right click and go to the delegate control to see the delegation window, guys. Yeah, we have to add. This should open up a new window where will be first be asked for the users to whom which you want delegate control. To avoid mistyping users name, write Philip. So yeah, let's try to go, and here we have to add, and in here you have to select Philip, Philip. I think there is two L, right? Phillip. So let me correct the spelling and click check names. Here it is. We were able to get some informations. The email like philip at thm.local and click OK. And next step. Okay, yeah, let's click OK. Go to the next step. In the next step, we have to select reset user passwords and force reset user passwords and uh, force password change at next logon and clicking the next button and clicking the finish. Now it's done. You're able to create a delegate. So click next and a couple of times and now Philip should be able to reset password for any user in the sales department. While you probably want to repeat these steps to delegate the password reset of the marketing and management departments, we will leave it there for this task. You are free to continue and configure the rest of the OUs if you so desire. Now let's use the Philip account to try and reset Sophie's password. Here are the Philip's credentials. So yeah, let's try to access this via RDP. In the RDP, I have to paste the computer. I think it may be the target IP, which is 1049.1, something like that. In my case, I am not able to copy and paste. I'm just entering manually 1049.169.77. In your case, it will be different. So after that, clicking connect. Yes. Yeah. I have the username and password. The username here is the Philip. Password is Claire 2008. So let me correct the spelling. Yeah, we were able to log in using as Philip using these credentials, right? While you may be tempted to go to the active data users and computers and to try and test Philip's new powers, he doesn't have really have the privilege to open that. So we will use other methods to do so password resets. In this case, we'll be using PowerShell to do so. So in the Philip's account, you have to run this command. So in the Philip, let us open the PowerShell. In this we are going to run the set. I'm just not able to copy and paste this content, I think. No, it doesn't working. So yeah, we have to type by looking into it. Okay, let me check if the mic is working. Yeah, it's good. So set ad account password. So yeah, let's correct that. Ad account password. Yeah, let's type that. Sophie and minus reset minus new password. I highly recommend you to press tab after you enter little. Then it will makes things faster and makes things error free. We have done a read hyphen host, right? Oops, I accidentally deleted that. If you are deleting contents like me, then you have to press Control Shift T, which will open the tab again. Okay, yeah, let's correct that. Read host as secure string minus prompt new password. Close in the bracket minus verbose. And this is what they're asking for, new password. We can just enter the password. I'm just getting an error. Let me type it again and enter the password. Still getting an error. Password does not meet the length, complexity or requirements. So yeah, let me correct that. Yeah, now it's done. Now we have to enter the second command, set active directory user minus change password at logon $true minus identity and in this case is Sophie minus verbose. It's done. After performing that, we can just log into the Sophie's account with your new password and retrieve the flag. So yeah, let me close this, terminate, and try to access the Sophie's account with the password that we created. Yeah, it is asking us to change the password. We have to change the password. We have to enter the new password. Login. Oh shit, I think I just clicked something wrong. Let me enter correctly. You can just enter the new password. Click here. Yeah, it is changing the password. Password was now changed. We were able to log in into the Sophie's account and we were able to get the flag. This is thanks for, oh my god. Yeah, we were able to get the flag. So the process of granting privilege to a user over some OU or other Active Directory object is called. So you can just read these contents and understand. It's basically delegation. So the process is known as delegation. It's give specific users some control over OU is called delegation, and allows you to grant some user a specific privilege to perform advanced tasks on the OU without needing a domain administrator to step in. Yeah. So yeah, we are moving to the managing computers in AD. By default, all the machines that join a domain will be put in a container called computers. So yeah, let's move here. Let us close this and move here. And in the computers, we can see there's a lot of computers, right? So yeah, we can see you have to read the workstations, servers, domain controllers, what that means. Yeah, inside that we have those contents like below the users. Okay, let's move on. These are the contents available here. Yeah, anyways, let's read this. Domain controllers are the third most common device within an Active Directory domain. Domain controllers allows you to manage the Active Directory domain. These devices are often deemed the most sensitive devices within the network as they contain hashed passwords for all user accounts within the environment. You will be able to read more about it. After organizing the available computers, how many ended up in the workstations OU? So, in the workstations OU, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 computers, but we have to organize the available computers to see the remaining computers. We can see some servers, some laptop, and some computers are there. Having all of your devices the best is not the best idea, since it's very likely that you want different policies for your servers and machines that regularly use on daily basis. Well, there is no golden rule on how to organize your machines. An excellent starting point is segregating devices according to their use. In general, you will expect to see devices divided into least the three following categories. Workstations are one of the most common device within an Active Directory domain. Each user in the domain will likely to be logged in into a workstation. This is the device they will use to do their work or normal browsing activities. These devices should never have a privileged user assigned to them. So we have servers are the second most common device within an Active Directory domain. Servers are generally used to provide services to users or other servers. We have the domain controllers, which we read before. You can just read that. So yeah, since we are tying up on our Active Directory, let's create two separate OU for workstation and servers. So yeah, let us create. So domain controllers are already in an OU created by Windows. We will be creating directly under THM local. I'm just clicking new OU, and the name that I'm giving one is workstations. Okay, here we created the workstations, and we have to create servers. So in the tsm.local, you have to click new and organizational unit, and let's enter servers, and turned on protect a container from accidental deletion. Yeah. Now move the personal computers and laptops to the workstations OU and the servers to the server OU from the computer container. Doing so will allow us to configure policies for each OU later. After organization the available computers, how many ended up in the workstation OU? We just created. Move the personal computers and laptops to the workstation OU. So the personal computers and laptops, we have to move it in the workstation. So this seems to be the Philips laptops, and this is the personal computer. We have to move it to workstation. Let's move into workstation. Let's select the laptops, personal computers into the workstation. Click yes, that's done. And the servers to the server OU from the computer container. So we have the server to the servers OU. Now move the personal computers and laptops to the workstations OU and the servers to the servers OU from the computer's container. Doing so will allow us to configure policies for each OU later. So we just move the personal computers and laptops to the workstations OU. So yeah, it's reconnecting. So in the workstations OU, we have the laptops and some personal computers, right? And the servers to the servers OU from the computers container. So servers to the servers, we have two servers. Yeah, I think I'm just done something wrong. Like we I just read the question wrong. So yeah, we have to put this into the server. The question here is, after organizing the available computers, how many ended up in the workstations or you? So we have to check the workstations, and here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 ended up there. Yeah, I just read the question in a wrong manner. So, is it recommendable to create separate OU for servers and workstations? Yeah, it is recommended to create a separate OU for servers and workstations according to those descriptions. So yeah, let's move on to the task 6 about group policies. So far, we have been organized users and computers in organizational unit just for the sake of it. But the main idea behind this is to able to deploy different policies for each OU individually. So that way, we can just push different configurations and security baselines to users depending on their department. So yeah, Windows manages such policies using through the group policy object. We have the group policy management which is available there, and we are going to launch that. And let's try to launch the group policy management. Here it is. Yeah. So here you will be able to see some information. The first thing you will see when opening it is your complete OU hierarchy as defined before. So to configure group policies, you first create a GPO, which is the group policy objects, and then link it to the OU where you want the policies to apply. As an example, you can see there are some already existing GPOs in our mission. So we have two GPOs available in the THM. We have the default domain and RDP policy are the two group policy objects available, and we have GPOs are created. The created GPOs will be there. We have default domain controller and some others. Let's expand that to see properly. Yeah. So we can see in the image above that three GPOs have been created from those default domain policy and RDP policy, and are linked to thm.local domain as whole. So, and the default domain controller policy is linked to the domain controller or you only. Something important to have in mind is that any GPO will apply to the linked OU, which is organizational unit, and any sub OUs under it, for example, sales OU. As you can see, sales OU will still be affected by the default domain policy. Let's examine the default domain policy to see what's inside the GPO. The first tab you will see when selecting a GPO shows its scope, which is where the GPO is linked in the Active Directory. For the current policy, we can see that it has been only linked to the thm.local. So here in the default domain policy, we will be able to see a scope, and this is it. You can just read that. So yeah, you can just select the default domain policy in the settings. It's generating the report. So yeah, we have to move to the computer configuration enable. In that we also have user configuration is also enabled. So these are two which is enabled, right? So feel free to explore the GPU and expand on the available items using the show links on the right hand side of the each configuration, right? Here you can see show to see more about it. We can just right click and edit the GPU by right clicking, and you can just edit that. And in the edit, you can just we can just set the password policy, which will be available in the Windows settings, security settings. So yeah, we have the Windows settings and we have the security settings. Inside that we have, let me expand this. We have account policy. In the account policy, we have the password policy there. So minimum password length is 7 characters. We can just change the characters to 10 if you want, right? For securing it. Like that, you can just change it according to your needs, guys. Right now, it's changed to 10 characters, right? So as you can see, plenty of policies can be established in a group policy object. While explaining every single of them would be impossible in a single room. To feel free to explore a bit, as some of the policies are straightforward. If more information on any of the policies is needed, you can just double click in them and read the explanation. You can just double click to read the explanation if you want to know more about it. Okay, yeah, we have the GPO distribution. GPOs are distributed to the network via a network share called sysvol, which is stored in the DC. All users in the domain should typically have access to this share over the network to sync their GPO periodically. The sysvol share points by default see Windows sysvol directory on each of the DCs in our network. Once a change has been made to any GPO, it will take up to 2 hours for computers to catch up. So if you want to force any particular computer to sync its GPU immediately, you can just run this command. So we have some information related to that. We have restrict control panel access to restrict the users from accessing the control panel by going to the group policy management editor. Inside that, we have to go to the control panel and we can just prohibit access. Right. I'll just show you. So in the group policy management, for example, these are some things that is like if you're running an organization, running an active directory, and you don't want your employees to access a specific, like in this case, control panel, then you can just restrict it from here, which will be in the administrative templates. So yeah, in the administrative templates, we can just move to the control panel. In the control panel personalization, you can just prevent changing start menu from the background, and a lot of things that you can do from here. In the control panel, you can just click that. Okay, once you click here in the personalization, you will be able to see a lot of options, right? So you can just prevent the users from accessing specific contents, right? Yeah, you can just read that by yourself. Anyways, we are moving on. You can see a lot of other options will be available, right? We have some restrict control panel access, which will be available in the group policy objects. Which is in the THM IT, in the THM management. You can just go if you want. We have a plenty of other options for that. This is something that you should explore, and plenty of other options that you will be able to see from this screenshot. We can just restrict auto lock screen and a lot of things that you can do. Once the GPUs have been applied to the current OU, we can log in as a user. Either, yeah, you have to do these things. We are going to create some GPU for the THM. Okay, guys, if you want to create a GPO, then you can just go here, which is in the group policy management. From there, you can just right click and click new. First, let me close this group policy management editor and right clicking in the group policy object. and from there I'm just clicking new. Now I can just create a new one here. In this case, we are going to create restrict control panel access GPO. So yeah, restrict control panel access. So yeah, after that it's none. I'm just entering that. So here we have the restrict control panel access. From there I can just edit that, and in that I can just go to the control panel, which will be under the policies, Windows settings. So in the policies administrative control panel, here it is. When I zoom that, you will be able to see prohibit access to control panel and PC settings. You can just double click and change this according to your needs. Enabled. So once I enable that, let me click edit. Enabled. Next settings. Previous settings is just enabling that. After that, click OK, then it's done. Now you can see it's basically enabled right now, right? So like that, you can just go to other pages and do other things. Restrict control panel access. In the group policy management, let us close this. And in the group policy management, you can see the restrict control panel access is here. And there will be THM inside that. In the management, marketing, sales, we have to use this restricting control panel access. Okay, once the GPU is configured, we'll need to link it to all of our OUs corresponding to users who shouldn't have access to the control panel of their PC. In this case, we will link the marketing, management, and sales OU by dragging the GPU to each of them. So we have to drag that into marketing. Yeah, this is how you link that. Now we just linked that in the marketing, and we have to link to management and sales. You can just use this to management, okay, and to the sales. Okay, now this was linked to marketing, management, and sales. It's done. Now we are going to set up auto log screen GPO, which will be in the Windows settings, security settings, local policies. In the group policy management editor. So this is something that you should do it by yourself. That's what I'm recommending. And yeah, I just done one, not all. That is something that I'm giving to you. So yeah, we have mark, and this we can just connect it using RDP to try to see if we were able to access the control panel. We just restricted that, right? Yeah, we can just log in as mark, and the password, in this case marketing.21. So I'm not able to copy and paste. And just log in on the mark. If you try to open the control panel, you should get a message indicating denied. You can also wait 5 minutes to check if automatic screen. This is something that we doesn't do right now. So you can also wait 5 minutes to check if the screen is automatically locked if you want. So that's what we doesn't done. You can just search for control panel. Let's see if it is working. Yeah, you can see the operation has been cancelled due to restriction in effect on this computer. So this is how you basically set up the Active Directory in an organization, and the users, the employees will not be able to access specific things that you set up in the Active Directory. So yeah, anyways, what is the name of the network share used to distribute GPUs to domain machines? So from here, you can see the GPUs are distributed to the network via a share called sys4, right? Yeah. Can a GPO be used to apply settings to users and computers? Yeah, we just set it up the group policy objects, which will be applied to the users and computers, right? Yeah. So yeah. So now we are moving to the authentication methods. We have Kerberos, Net, and TLM. So Kerberos is used by any recent version of Windows. This is the default protocol in any recent domain. And Net and TLM is a legacy authentication protocol kept for compatibility purposes. We can just read those by yourself by from here. Yeah, this is something that I personally recommend you to read that by yourself. Will a current version of Windows uses Net and TLM as the preferred authentication protocol by default? So yeah, you have to read about Net and TLM. Works by using a challenge response mechanism. You can see the entire process, the client sends and or the how it will work. You can just read that. So the described process applies when using a domain account. If a local account is used, the server can verify the response to challenge itself without requiring interaction with the domain controller since it has password hash. Current version of Windows used NTLM, yeah, Net NTLM as the preferred authentication protocol. So this is basically legacy authentication protocol kept for compatibility purposes. So yeah, current is not using that. Current Windows is not using. So when referring to Kerberos, what type of ticket allows us to request further ticket known as TGS? The TGS basically here is the in the Kerberos is basically the ticket granting ticket TGT. So when using net NTLM, so is a user's password transmitted over the network at any point? So we have the net NTLM. The user's password is never transmitted through the internet network for security. So yeah, it's not transmitted because of security. Yeah, we are just moving to the task 8 where it is having trees, forest, and trust. We can see, and this is something that you should read. You can just imagine and read these contents by yourself. This is trees usually looks like a tree. We have a domain controller root. In between that, we have some thing looks like a subdomain of tsm.local here, and we have some forest which is the collection of trees. So this is how tree looks like. You can just read the description from there. And in terms of forest, it's the collections of trees, right? So yeah, the domains you manage can be also be configured in different namespaces. Suppose your company continues growing and eventually acquires another company called mstinc. When both companies merge, you will probably have different domains in trees for each company, each managed by its own IT department. The union of several trees with the different namespaces is the same network is known as forest. And we have trust relationships. So this is something that you should read. So what is a group of Windows domain that share same namespace called? Uh, the group of Windows domain share namespaces, same namespaces. We can search for namespaces. Name, as you can see, the share namespaces, right? So it's basically called as tree. So what should be configured between two domains for a user in an domain A to access a resource in domain B? It's basically a one-way trust, right? So no. What should be configured between two domains for a user in domain A to access resource in domain B? It is basically a trust relationship, right? Yeah, this is configured between two domains for a user in domain A to access a resource in domain B. And we just reached the conclusion. Yeah. So most of the contents in this room is something that you should read by yourself. I just demonstrated some labs on it. You can just try it by yourself. Yeah, I hope this video is helpful for you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.